of Finland, and he's somebody that, where are we here? We're I'm right here. Oh, you look better than I've ever seen you look.
Hello, I'm over here, says Finnish President Alexander Stubb. Hi, my name is Suri Crowe, and you're watching the MeidasTouch Network. Oh my word. Trump is a mess. I mean, that's been obvious for decades now to those of us who have been paying attention, but this is truly a code red situation. Monday's meeting with all of the European leaders felt like hey, granddad is pretending to be POTUS again. He's pretending to meet with world leaders who are trying to save democracy. But this time he's on the side of the evil villain. And also he can't remember what he said 5 minutes ago to all of these imaginary world leaders. So maybe we should put him back in his room and to bed for the night. Except this is reality. This is really happening, and we are all in extreme peril because of it. And these pro-democracy leaders are handling a tinderbox filled with explosive dynamite in the form of Donald Trump. All because 90 million Americans didn't bother to vote last year, and 77 million Americans are racist, hateful, and wholly uneducated. I hope it was worth it to you to own the freaking libs. Then there was this embarrassing response to European leader Ursula von der Leyen when she was asking Trump to help the thousands of Ukrainian children that Vladimir Putin has kidnapped.
Every single child has to go back to its family. This should be one of our main priorities also in these negotiations, to make sure that the children come back to Ukraine to their families.
Thank you. And we did. I was just thinking we're here for a different reason, but we just a couple of weeks ago made the largest trade deal in history. So that's a big thing. And congratulations. That's great. Thank you very much, Ursula.
What? Congratulations? This man is so cognitively gone. Like, he has no business in any office. Never mind one of the most powerful positions in the world. It's truly terrifying. And the summit in Alaska was just a photo op for murderous dictator and internationally wanted war criminal Vlad Putin, who literally got the red carpet treatment, and Trump got absolutely nothing but humiliated on the world stage.
Trump flew to Alaska to talk to Putin about Ukraine for less than 3 hours, after which they held a press conference that went so badly, even this Fox News reporter couldn't put a positive spin on it.
The way that it felt in the room was not good. It did not seem like things went well, and it seemed like Putin came in and steamrolled, got right into what he wanted to say, and got his photo next to the president and then left.
Yeah, not great. And while the White House later released this black and white photo of Trump looking tough while talking to Putin, it does seem like the vibe was more accurately summed up by this AP photo of Putin looking confident and Trump looking like that room temperature shrimp is coming back up.
I mean, look at these photos. Vlad ate, and he ate well. He ate Trump's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Trump just looks like a big orange simp. And he looks terrible. He sounds awful. He's slurring like a drunken sailor. No offense to drunken sailors. And his narcissism is an international liability.
So there's no deal until there's a deal. I will call up NATO in a little while. I will call up the various people that I think are appropriate. And I'll, of course, call up President Zelensky and tell him about today's meeting. It's ultimately up to them. They're going to have to agree with what Marco and Steve and some of the great people from the Trump administration who've come here, Scott. And we also have some tremendous Russian business representatives here. And I think, everybody wants to deal with us. We've become the hottest country anywhere in the world in a very short period of time. And we've always had a fantastic relationship with President Putin, with Vladimir. We had many tough meetings, good meetings. We were interfered with by the Russia hoax. It made it a little bit tougher to deal with, but he understood it. But we had an extremely productive meeting, and we're going to stop really 5, 6, 7,000, thousands of people a week from being killed. And President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening.
So you see, after Putin came over, stomped all over American turf, kind of like a dog taking a piss on a tree, like, this is my territory now, had Trump kiss his ass, complete with American service members rolling out that red carpet for him. Now he wants to own Trump in Moscow. And it's so obvious to anyone with a functioning brain. So that's going to leave out Donald Trump and the MAGAverse. They don't have critical thinking skills. Putin bent Trump, broke him, and then he jetted off back to Moscow with his loot and his victory.
Something seemingly changed on that topic this afternoon.
It could be a good meeting, and we'll go a step further. We'll get it done. I'd like to see a ceasefire very, very quickly. I want to see a ceasefire rapidly. I don't know if it's going to be today, but I'm not going to be happy if it's not today. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to be, I won't be happy if I walk away without some form of a ceasefire. I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires.
Well, look, what we've learned, especially in the hours this morning, is that the president gave up his demand for a ceasefire. Remember, what we're talking about now, when we're talking about security guarantees and so forth, this meeting with Zelensky, this is for a broader peace agreement that would be more enduring down the road. But that's not going to happen overnight. That's going to take a long time. You heard President Putin say, I was in the room with him yesterday, he said we have to address the root causes. When President Putin uses the phrase root causes, what he means by that is NATO retreating back to its 1997 border before its expansion. What it means is Kyiv giving up a lot of its military. What it means is Kyiv giving up a lot of its territory. These are not things that are going to happen overnight. What President Trump came into Alaska saying he wanted was an immediate ceasefire to halt the killing right away. And then he left Alaska, not only without that ceasefire, but giving up on it. A complete reversal in just a few hours of time, the kind of which we don't normally see in international diplomacy. And that means that what Vladimir Putin got out of this summit meeting is not only the nice photo op on the red carpet and in the presidential limousine. What he got out of it was essentially a free pass to continue the war for an indefinite amount of time without the severe consequences that Trump said he would impose if there wasn't a ceasefire.
Mm-hmm. Michael McFaul is the former U.S. ambassador to Russia under President Obama, and he is a leading expert on U.S.-Russian relations.
What message does that send to Putin back in Moscow?
That to me sends a message that President Trump does not know how to negotiate. It's just appalling to me. I'm sorry I have to be so blunt, but I've negotiated with the Russians. I've studied negotiations. And when you have cards like recognition of Crimea or not letting Ukraine into NATO, you need to use them to get something from the other side. And what I don't understand about President Trump's strategy, and I've read Art of the Deal, by the way, and these tactics are not in Art of the Deal. He gives away his cards before the negotiation.
Every projection is a confession. Like, I'm a great negotiator. He's a terrible negotiator, the worst. And Trump just hears what he wants to hear. He doesn't live in reality.
I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand that? As crazy as it sounds.
Now, all of the European leaders have learned that flattery is the way to tune Trump's ear, which is gross, but also sadly necessary. And French President Emmanuel Macron said repeatedly in interviews after Monday's meeting that he doesn't share Trump's enthusiasm that Putin wants to make a deal.
The discussion addressed the possibility that a result would not be achieved, the possibility that Russia would not sincerely want to engage in such a process. And at that point, he signaled his willingness and readiness to impose what he calls primary and secondary tariffs, but which we, in fact, call sanctions. You have an American president, European presidents, and a Ukrainian president all wanting peace. For my part, I have the greatest doubts about the reality of a desire for peace on the part of the Russian president, because as long as he thinks he can win through war, he will do so. And his ultimate objective is to take as much as territory as possible to weaken Ukraine and to have a Ukraine that is not viable alone or is within the Russian fold.
I listened to several interviews from Macron in both English and French, and it's notable that he has a different tone when he's speaking to the American press versus the international press. But it's clear that he does not believe Vladimir Putin is remotely serious about a ceasefire or a peace deal. And in fact, in one interview, Macron referred to Putin as a predator and an ogre at our gates. And President Macron, in my opinion, would be completely correct. In Alaska, the Putin entourage did not come to make a deal. They came to own the rube known as Donald Trump. I mean, his entourage rolled in. His Russian foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, wore a sweater that said CCCP, which stands for the old Soviet Union, which is Putin's life goal, to reassemble the old Soviet Union. He is not going to back off taking Ukraine or the Baltics. He wants to rebuild the Russian imperial empire. That's what Putin wants to do before he leaves this earth and goes to God knows where. He's bombing the shit out of Ukrainian civilians right now. And Trump is a moron for not knowing this basic fact about Vladimir Putin. And he's a moron for being so completely ignorant of Russia's history and its repeated attacks against the Western continent. Like, Trump is just an imbecile. He has no knowledge or education about world history, never mind American history. He's just ignorant. And Putin plays him. No, Trump is off crowing about, Putin wants to make a deal for me. He wants to make a deal for me. I know it sounds crazy, but for me, yes, it does sound crazy because you're crazy. No, he doesn't want to make a deal with you. He's mocking you. And the only reason that things are potentially salvageable is because the coalition of the willing saw the abject disaster of the Alaska summit and flew in to get Zelensky's back because they know that Donald Trump is deeply unstable. The White House is claiming that peace talks between Zelensky and Putin with Donald Trump being present are imminent, but Russia appears to be far from that agreement.
Russia's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, seemed to slow walk the plans for talks today, saying any contacts involving leaders must be prepared very thoroughly. But White House officials anticipate the sit-down will take place within the next 2 weeks and hope to have the date and site nailed down in the next few days. The White House and European leaders are now racing to flesh out a plan for security guarantees to protect a post-war Ukraine from future attacks and discourage Russia from invading again.
France and Germany, a couple of them, UK, they want to have, boots on the ground.
In a phone interview this morning, President Trump said the U.S. would not contribute ground troops, but might help protect Ukraine from the sky.
And oh, by the way, suddenly Donald Trump seems to be thinking about heaven and how he can negotiate his way to get in there.
And, we're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it. The planes were being shot down. That was going to be maybe a nuclear war. I
am curious to know who was brave enough to break the news to Trump that he's not doing well, that he is in fact on the bottom of the so-called totem pole of humanity. The sad reality is, I don't believe peace is a realistic goal as long as Trump is in awe of dictator Putin. Putin only understands one thing, and that is brute force. And he will play Trump like a fine violin as long as Trump allows him to. I'll leave you with this message from one of my sweet friends in Ukraine. I asked him for his take after Monday's meeting with all of the European leaders at the White House, and here's how he responded. He said, while there were peace talks, we were covered by missiles and drones. I didn't have much time to think about it, honestly. We were busy with ministering to those who were close to death. My friend Tim is a pastor and lives right outside or inside Kiev. That message actually just brought me to tears. And then he almost sort of apologized and was like, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm like, oh my God. In any event, that's what's at stake. So when you see Volodymyr Zelensky showing up wearing the suit because the morons in the MAGAverse media crowd are yakking about his suit, Zelensky's like, okay, I'm going to wear a suit. What if I have to bow down and kiss Trump's hand to get my people help? I'm going to do it because he's trying to save the lives of people like my friend Tim and the thousands and thousands of Ukrainians who are getting shelled by bombs every night by Putin. And that's what's at stake. And it's really sad and pathetic to me that we have an American president who can't seem to get that through his very blurry skull. So, I am praying for peace over Ukraine. I am praying for peace over Gaza, over the West Bank, over Sudan, over all of these places where people have been so marginalized and attacked. And I'm certainly praying for peace over America because obviously if you watch this channel, you can see we're not in very good shape right now either. So that's what I got for now. Peace out to you.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.